Let's open in prayer. Holy One, Holy Three, we thank you for this morning, for this chance to gather and learn more about you and grow closer to one another. Lord, as we prepare to ordain and install our new elders, be with all the leadership of the church as we continue to discern where you are leading us next. Pray this in your holy name. Amen. All right, Matthew 25. This is our fourth week doing this. So the first week we did an overview of the Matthew 25 process and how we got the Matthew 25 initiative. And then we looked at congregational vitality. The second week, last week, we talked about poverty and had a really great conversation about poverty and the causes of poverty and why it continues to persist. Today we're going to be talking about dismantling structural racism. And so I have you, we're set up a little differently because it's kind of hard to have a big conversation about racism. So I thought it'd be better if we had more table conversations. So we're going to be really doing a lot of work at tables this morning. So opening question. I've got screens on all sides, so hopefully you'll be able to see it. At your table, I have a person or two say, when did you first become aware of race? Or put another way, what is your first memory involving race? And before you start, if you don't know everybody at your table, introduce yourselves. So there's your opening question. All right, I'm going to cut you off several times today, so I'm sorry in advance, but that's kind of how we're going to roll today. That was just a primary conversation to get us started. How many of you have read a lot of 20th century philosophy? Hey, I saw a half raised hand over there, and you're probably thinking, why are we talking about philosophy at the start of this? So, the 20th century philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein talked about language games and language traps. A language trap is when we have a commonly used word or phrase that has multiple layers and meanings. And so how one person uses it can be different from how another person uses that word or phrase. And so there's often misunderstandings and miscommunications because we aren't clear about how we are using particular terms. We don't take the time to define what we mean by a word or phrase. So one of the words that is a language trap is racism. So at your table, I want you to come up with the definition of racism. So you've got these yellow sheets and you're going to put your definition on one of those yellow sheets. You can use the printer paper to write, to kind of put your thoughts together, but I want you to write out your definition for racism that your table comes up with on the yellow piece of paper, and I'm going to give you 10 minutes. No pressure. Okay? And I'll get some cues for you all back there. All right, go.
I think it must be fairness. Unless they gave it to I think they can forget what their record was. Nobody thought they could do this, and then they got all
You've got about 3 minutes left. Be sure to get that on the big page.
I have a great person that works in the about I said, you're supposed to put it on that sheet. What do you want to do? I don't like to print. Over the years,
All right, time's up. So, was that easy at your tables, or was that a little bit hard to come up with the one definition? Lots of laughter. That table has more than one definition. Okay, so you have your definitions of racism. We hear a lot about racism in our culture, and so it's a familiar concept, but there's lots of different meanings, as we'll see when we read these out loud. But before we do that, since we've defined racism, I want you to do the exact same thing defining anti-racism. So you've got a second sheet of paper, or for the group back, these two tables, the table back there, use it, define it below, okay? You can be a guy with that. So we're going to take 10 minutes, come up with the definition of anti-racism. If you want to, one thing that can help is to use your definition of racism.
We've always had certain questions in our
All the screens are the same. I'm just walking around. Alright, you've got about 3 minutes. Be sure to get your definitions down and also choose somebody to read them.
Got about 2 minutes to change
Alrighty. Let's come on back together now. Which definition was harder for your group to create? Or were they about the same?
We had to get
The
started.
first one, racism was harder. Was it because it was first, or is this more abstract? Brainstorming, yeah. I mean, you had to get into the process.
And there's so many components to it, when you look around the world at how it gets implemented.
Right.
So many things you keep getting different, you know, like how this person is really racist toward that person, or their culture, or their speech, or whatever.
Right. There's so many different components to it that it just keeps, you can fill up lots of sheets. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go around, each table is going to read their definition of racism first, and we're going to talk about those, and we'll do the same for anti-racism. So we're going to start here. So who's going to read for your table? Yes, we're just reading racism right now. Yeah.
We have down that racism is a power structure between groups or within a group that's the same. And then we just have our bulleted aspects of it, like skin color, ethnicity, the language, educational, the class of people, religion, just, and the culture. Those are our subgroups.
Alright, next table. Who wants to read over here? Here's the microphone.
This is what we came up with. An opinion that causes action based on color and feelings of superiority. And that's a pretty all-encompassing, it might not be all-encompassing unless we can think of something, but it seems to be all-encompassing. That's what we think.
Wonderful. Thank you. The next table. Who wants the mic?
The one we liked the best was a socially constructed system to give advantages to people who are considered to be white.
Thank you. Next table.
We don't follow directions very well.
We're creative. So unpack it for us.
Basically, we try to summarize it. We summarize all these words in the arrows and, cross out things, but do not do this and this. Anyway, basically, we looked at racism as in the context of the inbred, our culture, our legal financial systems, and where we look and label individuals based on assumptions of differences resulting in fear, isolation, ignorance, and our reaction to those things is that we then create laws and norms we perpetuate.
Thank you. Next table. Alright, let's listen up.
Making assumptions about a person based on their race or skin color without regard to the content of their character. Then the second.
We're going to do the second one later. We're just doing racism. Don't worry, we'll come back to that one. You all?
We opted for simplicity and belief. Okay, our definition is racism is a belief in a hierarchy of humans in general, and in particular with regard to skin color.
Thank you. Last year?
We said that racism is,
You want me to hold it?
yeah, and taking into account when dealing with others to the detriment of others or taking action that involves others. Prejudice, we pointed out, is prejudging, not just black and white, also country of origin and religious beliefs.
All right, so what did you hear in common? What sticks out about these various definitions? And I'm going to have a list right over here. So what did you hear in those different definitions? What was in common? Prejudice. What else? Assumptions. Skin color. Ignorance. What else? Hierarchy. I'm not a teacher, which is why my handwriting is not nearly as nice as many of yours.
Superiority versus inferiority.
Superiority versus inferiority.
I heard that we're all can be probably guilty.
All probably guilty of it.
The system.
System. Preconceived.
I think going back to the superior, inferior, I can't be superior unless you're inferior.
Yes, so the superiority, inferiority, it's personal. So I can't be superior unless the other is defined as inferior. Yes.
It colors not just our culture but our law.
In fact, it colors not just culture but law.
I think it's also implied fear of differences.
Fear of differences, that's a good one to remember.
But in that movie word, replacement,
Sorry, what was that?
replacement,
Replacement.
fear of being replaced by others.
You're afraid of being replaced by.
Fear of being replaced. Okay. All right, now we're going to do the anti-racism definitions. We're going to go reverse order. So you guys are up first.
Okay. You want to hold
I'll be happy to hold.
Okay. Anti-racism is respecting cultural and visual and oral or racial differences and needs when making decisions affecting others. We should work toward eradicating systemic racism, embracing each other's differences, educating each other's about differences, and to start young, as in South Pacific. They've got to be taught.
Thank you. Next group.
Our definition of anti-racism is a radical belief in the equality of all humans.
Nice. Nice. Get back here.
Judging individuals on the basis of the content of their character rather than color levels.
We liked all the other ones. I have nothing to add except we talked about anti-racism as being an intentionality that promotes diversity, openness, you mentioned judgmental, caring, and we talked a lot about entitlement, and we live in a culture of entitlement, whether it's college applications, whether it's loans for cars or houses, and stand up against it.
Thank you.
For anti-racism, there's an analogy I heard one time that we're in this system that's moving. It's like being on one of those moving sidewalks at the airport, and that you're on it, and if you stop, you're still moving because the system has stopped, and that the only way to be an anti-racist is to turn around and go against that moving sidewalk. And so our thing was actively fighting against the present social structure. And that included things like actively fighting against it, things like advocating, making sure that the rules are the same for everybody, being inclusive, pushing back. If you hear somebody saying something, don't just sit silently. It implies that you agree with it and stuff like that. So actively fighting against it.
Wonderful, thank you. Next group.
Well, we just said anti-racism, but you guys have really defined what that means. So, there, all of you are defining this.
All right, last group.
Last but not least, we really value everything everyone said, and we looked at anti-racism more as acting in support of marginalized groups to promote equality for all, and not just skin color, but all the areas that we have differences. And then we just coined the phrase, actions speak louder than words, because we can define what anti-racism is. We can say, act out and support groups, but if we don't do something about it, like you said, with the system and within even our local area, then we're not doing active or anti-racism.
Thank you. Okay, so what stood out in those, what commonalities did you hear? What kind of fit all together for anti-racism?
I heard hope. I'm
Hope.
hopeful when I hear everyone here talk about it, and thinking about it, they're ready to go out and act on it. I heard hope.
Thank you.
Our need for action.
Need for action. What else?
Equality.
What was that?
Equality.
Equality, thank you.
Equity.
Equity.
Understanding.
Understanding. Respecting? Respecting, thank you. Somebody else said something.
Active.
Acting?
Active.
Active, thank you. Intentionality. Boldness.
Openness.
Openness.
Boldness.
What was that? Did I say something that somebody didn't actually say? I'm
Just
sorry.
to play
Home was good as well as home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Education.
Education.
Going along with that, starting off.
Yeah.
Educate children.
Be an example.
What was that?
Christians, we have to be an example.
We have to be an example.
I think I'd say face-to-face contact, because it doesn't do for us to sit in this room, another ethnicity to sit in another room and just talk about it.
Yeah, it's not just here. We need personal contacts.
One of the things, and this is, we just talked at our table though, about kind of an overlay of differences in making Christians. And where would Jesus be in this conversation?
Yeah.
And how we treat each other, how we fight against the powers that may be pushing us to quietly suppress votes or quietly keeping people marginalized and those sorts of things. And so, for us, that just sort of became an overlay, and not only of today, but last week too. And it's to think about the systems that they privilege some of us and not others, what privilege Jesus wants to do. You turned over the tables.
Yeah, so the question is kind of constantly in these conversations asking where Jesus would be, not just in our conversations about racism, but also going back to last week about poverty as well. So that's a great point to remember. And part of why we have this is we see in Matthew 25, Jesus saying, go to the people who have been forgotten, who have been excluded, and stand with them. And so that's why we have this Matthew 25 initiative, is to be a part of that. So thank you for bringing that up. We could keep going on and have more great conversations, and I hope that this is really just the start. But it is time, I have to run because I have to participate in the service in a few minutes, so I have to run. So I want to thank you all for showing up and being part of these conversations, and I'm glad that you're here. I'm going to ask that you leave the sheets on there because I want to keep them and look at them later. So leave the sheets, I'll grab them later, and I'll see you all over.
Thank you, Matt.